Okay, did you know that integrating autonomous AI agents directly into your development workflow can literally cut down your debugging time by over 40%? It's pretty wild. Today, we're diving into an explainer based on an absolute masterclass of a tutorial by Anasup Consulting, which shows you exactly how to build these agents using Claude code. Instead of just talking about AI in theory, we're going to get our hands dirty and dive right into the actual mechanics of agent construction, so you can see exactly how this whole thing works under the hood. Okay, let's dive right into this. We kind of need to start by redefining what autonomous actually means for us developers. We aren't just talking about code that blindly executes a list of manual commands, and we're definitely moving away from those rigid if-else statements, where you have to predict literally every possible edge case. Instead, we're looking at a paradigm where a large language model acts as a real reasoning engine. Just imagine hitting a terminal error, and instead of the whole thing crashing, your code reads the error log, figures out why it failed, self-corrects the syntax, and tries again. I mean, that is true autonomy. So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll enter the world of Claude code agents. Second, we'll look at Anasup Consulting's blueprint. Third, we'll break down the construction steps. And finally, we'll wrap up with the agent advantage. All right, Section 1, enter Claude code agents, the next frontier in coding. You see, mastering this kind of construction is rapidly becoming the absolute best way for developers to scale their impact. But what exactly is a Claude code agent? Well, for starters, it isn't just typing a prompt into a chat window. It's the actual process of integrating Anthropic's Claude directly into your developer environment, like your command line interface. You're giving the AI persistent memory, so it actually remembers the context of your project. You're granting it specific tool use capabilities, and you're allowing it to actively execute bash commands. So you're essentially building an engine for independent action. Moving right along to Section 2, Anasup Consulting's Blueprint, which is our masterclass case study for today. Now, what's really interesting here is the core comparison. Standard scripting, as we know, relies really heavily on static logic. You, the developer, have to manually anticipate and write out every single edge case and error handling routine. It is incredibly labor-intensive, but agent-based construction flips that entirely. You just give Claude a high-level goal, and the agent dynamically generates the necessary bash scripts. Then it runs those scripts, tests them, reads any error logs that pop up, and actively rewrites the code until the test passes. It literally transitions you from being a micromanager of syntax to a director of workflows. Let's pick up the pace and jump into Section 3, the construction steps, taking this from concept to execution. Now, we get to step out of the theory and onto the factory floor to actually build this. Let's see how this builds progressively. The blueprint breaks the whole process down into 3 highly technical, actionable phases. Step 1 is defining the system prompt. This is where you set the agent's persona, its operational boundaries, and exactly what it is and isn't allowed to touch. Step 2 is equipping it with specific tools. This means configuring the API so the agent has read and write access to your local file system, allowing it to modify files directly. Finally, Step 3 is building the evaluation loop. This is the absolutely crucial mechanism that allows Claude to parse its own outputs, verify its work, and decide if a task is actually complete or if it needs another iteration. And that brings us to our final section, Part 4, the agent advantage, covering the final output and real-world application. So you might be wondering, why go through all the effort of architecting system prompts and evaluation loops? Well, because the payoff is massive. When properly constructed, this setup automates incredibly complex coding workflows. We are talking about tasks like refactoring an entire React component autonomously while you focus on higher-level architecture. So the crucial point is that it completely eliminates the manual, tedious loop of edge case testing because Claude handles the terminal errors on its own. You are radically upgrading your capability by enlisting an AI to act as a highly capable, autonomous counterpart right inside your CLI. So it all comes down to this. When your code can write, test, and deploy itself while you sleep, what will you choose to build with your newly freed human creativity? We've unpacked the technical mechanics today, from equipping tools all the way to building out those evaluation loops. The challenge is now entirely in your hands. Take these concepts, fire up your environment, and start creating. The frontier of autonomous development is wide open. Happy building!